Good morning, everybody. Shift your mindset here, new episode. What is the advantage for you when you leave the Jehovah Witnesses? Maybe you are busy with leaving the Jehovah Witnesses. Maybe you're making plans on leaving. Maybe you're just thinking about it. Then this video is for you. Did you already left the Jehovah Witnesses? Are you an ex-JW? You are encouraged by seeing this video that you are on the right track. Because it's hard to leave, we all know it. We all did it if you left the organization, and you can be proud of it. But sometimes life is hard, kicks us down, old ways of thinking are kicking in, and you're still feeling maybe some guilt or fear, whatever. That is normal. So it's an ongoing process in letting go of things. What I experienced is I had to let go of things to grow even further. So I made a list for myself because I was thinking about it. What are the advantages of leaving? One of them for me is time. Time, that was a big one. Why? Because when I was a Jehovah Witness, the thing I didn't have was time. I go to work, go to study, go to congregation, maybe go to conventions, go into ministry. You were forced to do as much as you could. So I was always exhausted. I was literally also physically not fit if I look back at that time. A lot of worries, a lot of thinking, a lot of forgiving talks. You have to study hours, you have to make your whole talk of half an hour for the congregation. Hours and hours, busy. And then you leave the Jehovah Witnesses. And that is a strange thing, was it for me. Tuesday evening, nothing. Monday evening, no study. Saturday morning, no ministry. Sunday morning, no congregation meeting. It felt weird in the beginning for me. Let me know if it also felt weird for you maybe. But it felt weird for me. What do I do with all that time that I have now? That was a big thing. And then you can fall into a black hole a little bit. Yeah, what am I gonna do now? What do I like to do now? Who am I? What am I? So it's about your identity. It's creating and building up your new identity. And the only thing you can buy with money is time. And time is all that we have left on this beautiful Mother Earth. So spend it wisely. Another thing, I wrote it down, is freedom of belief and thought. And that's a big one for me. And I think it's maybe the major one for everybody who left the organization. Because what is better than practicing your right to believe what you want? Not forced on me, because I was brought up as a kid in the Jehovah Witnesses. It was forced upon me. I can say that. I didn't choose for it on a later stage in life. No, it was forced on me. And if you have autonomy in what you can believe, you have freedom, because you can explore. Like a little child who's exploring the world, now you can explore your own world. world. And you can question anything without feeling guilty. If I question something in the organization, other people, especially the elders, were making me feeling guilty that I questioned something, because it's more like shut up and obey at this moment in the organization. But it's so good that you just can explore in your own head, that you feel that freedom, that you can think thoughts, think about things you weren't allowed to think about. That's your freedom. Also, that you can start your critical thinking. It's also coming with the freedom of thought, that you feel such a liberation when you are no longer bound by rigid religious guidelines. You have to shun this person, you have to shun that person. Why? You love that person. The only thing they don't want anymore is to believe in the organization, and they leave. But it doesn't change a person, isn't a complete other person at any moment. No. So you can think critically, what is my place in this world? What do I want with my life? What do I want to achieve in this world? So start your critical thinking as soon as you leave the Jehovah Witnesses, because that will help you along the way in your process, believe me. The other thing is, an advantage when you leave the Jehovah Witnesses is you reduce your fear and your guilt. The moments I experienced the most guilt and fear was in the Jehovah Witness organization. It was, oh, Jehovah's watching me. And maybe you still do when you leave the organization. You just left in the early stages of leaving. You maybe still have that feeling that Jehovah is watching you or judging you. And you can experience some fear and some guilt. Or when you celebrate your first birthday or Christmas or whatever, you can still feel a little bit weird. And that's that fear and guilt that was placed upon you. Because they think we're gonna be judged by God. God is gonna punish you. And if God is not punishing you, then the elders will punish you. Or the wives of all the elders will punish you and judge you. They always think they are better than somebody else. Not only to worldly people, but there's also a good competition going on within the organization. Groups who are more active than others, so they feel better and more entitled to things, or their husband has some privileges in the congregation, he has a higher rank. All those things are part of being a Jehovah Witness. And religion emphasizes moral behavior and following specific rules. And you can reduce that guilt and fear, that you don't have to worry about it anymore constantly. And that you don't have to meet any standards to feel good enough. I often say it in my videos. Whatever you are, wherever you are now in life, you all are already good enough. Remember that. You can still have goals. But also in the JW religion, but also in society around us, if I have this amount of money, then I made it. So in your way to that amount of money, you're still not good enough. You're only good enough when you have that amount of money. If I am an elder, then I made it. If I will be a ministerial servant, then I am someone. So if you reach that level, elder or amount of money or a ministerial servant or a circuit overseer, whatever, then a new purpose is coming to the surface. Oh, I have to be this, that amount of money, or that, or that, or that. And that's that vicious, endless circle where we're always striving for more but never feel fulfilled from the inside. So place that finish line behind you. You are born, you're already good enough. Think about that, people. You're already good enough. You can have goals. I want to lose 60 pounds. I want to do this in life. I want to feed 100 homeless people. Nice goals, but in the process to that goal, you already feel whole. You already feel joyful. You're happy with yourself. So that's my number one message for you today. Another advantage is that when you leave, you improve your mental health. And that's also a big one, people. Because mental health creates also stress, anxieties, feelings of fear. Physical condition is getting worse if your mental health is not good. So you can lower your stress, you can lower your anxiety when you leave. Because the expectation of the religion is leading you to anxiety, stress, and depression. And after leaving, you will see that you struggle less with mental health problems. Also, the emotional or physiological trauma caused by the religion, by the shunning practice, whatever, isolation, you can resolve all of that when you leave. And this one, the next one, is an advantage I sincerely can agree with. Enhanced social connections. Jehovah's Witnesses are encouraged to limit socializing with non-Jehovah's Witnesses, even with Jehovah's Witnesses who are in a bad standing. And that can lead to social isolation. Once outside the faith, you can have more diverse relationships. Different background, different beliefs, and that will improve your mental health also. Because I experienced it firsthand that the relationships I have now, but also the social contacts I have now, are more deeply than ever I had. I have people here around me where you can talk about everything with. People who are loyal, who show up when you need them, who not judge me. They just accept you for who you are. And that's a strange feeling in the beginning, that someone has no agenda, that they are not talking about you behind your back, that they are straightforward, honest, that you can... I have conversations with my wife I had with no one before. Also in my relationship with a Jehovah's Witness, I couldn't have a normal conversation. If it's about feelings, then they completely shut down. So if you can have an honest conversation on how you feel and somebody else is reacting to that in a normal way, in a good way, in a loving way, then my eyes go open and then you think, oh, is this possible? Yes, it is possible. And I want everybody to experience that, but it's not possible in the Jehovah's Witness religion. My greatest point is personal growth and self-discovery. That's my number one, personally, as an advantage. Because if you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, you allow yourself to explore your own values, your own passions, And also, what is my interest? Nobody here, also my wife, whoever is here, is influencing me about anything. I can explore for myself what are my core values, what is something I get passionate about. And just that freedom alone, people, is worth gold, diamonds, whatever. It's worth it, because that's what life is about, to discover your passions, to discover what your values are, and not just following as a sheep an organization who is not putting your health as their number one priority. And the next one is that you have a greater control over your life choices. Because if you are a Jehovah's Witness, decisions are always influenced by religious teachings. Oh, I get an operation. Oh, I don't want blood. It's a religious teaching. If you leave a religion, then you have a personal choice. And you can make that choice without fear or without violating any doctrine rule you are following. Think about that. Freedom. You have your personal choice. When was the last time you made a personal choice, people? Tell me. Without feeling guilty, without anxiety, but just about from your core value. It's so important. And also, you have a greater control over your life choices regarding to relationships. It's not about, oh, it also has to be JW. What kind of rule is that? Because you can have a JW, you can marry a JW, but it can be a lousy person, can be a bad person, can be a narcissistic person, can be the worst wife you will ever have. But you're only ticking the box, it's also a Jehovah's Witnesses. But if you have flexibility on who you can get involved with in a romantic relationship, then you have freedom to pursue that relationship that is based on your own desire and your own preference, not the desire of, she or he is a Jehovah's Witnesses. That says nothing about the quality of your romantic relationship. Nothing. Because you can have the worst relationship ever, because it's not based on your own desire. It's based on a religious doctrine that you have to marry a JW. And another thing, what an advantage was for me, is I got rid of the burden of evangelizing. Oh, if I have to think about going back to ministry work, door to door, I get headaches. I get sick. Because we were so brainwashed that we had to spend such a significant amount of time going door to door, getting every door in your face shut by people getting angry at you. And that burden, if you can get rid of that, it's priceless, guys. It's priceless. Because no hair on my head is thinking about ever going back to the ministry door to door. The worst part wasn't going from door to door, because I was always making a chit chat with the neighbors, not about the Bible, but I said, hey, nice guy, and how do you do it? Tell me, or whatever. I was always different in that kind of way, but also putting up with all those JWs. oh no, I don't want to go to that territory because I know people there. And oh yeah, and people who left after 5 minutes to do important work, mostly elders. Oh, we're gonna visit an old JW couple or whatever to encourage them. No, you don't want to do door-to-door work, so say it just honest and just go. But and people who want to ride with you, who want to save money and gas and stuff like that, so they're always jumping in your car and you have to drive them around, and then they want sometimes, oh no, we'll finish this block, and then 2 hours later and all that stuff. And people ask me in the car, can you put on some original songs? No, it's my car, I have my own songs, thank you. But always, and the chit chat in the back and gossiping always that gossiping in ministry. No, people, that burden is gone. I'm never returning to that. So, the last one I want to say to you guys is the advantage of leaving the JWs is also living a life without doctrines. Think about that. Important one. Wayne Dyer says, have a mind that's open for everything and attached to nothing. And I always remember that one. I'm always open for things people say, but I'm not attached to anything, because it makes my life a lot easier. But a doctrine makes it that you are attached to something and you stick only to that thing. Everything else around that you don't take into consideration. You don't follow it, you don't want to hear it, because you're only focused on that doctrine. If you have freedom of doctrine, then you can make your own decision without getting a restriction. There's no restriction around that. So if there's no restriction around it, there's also no guilt, no fear, no anxiety, whatever pops up in your mind. So freedom of doctrines is a very important one. And you can explore yourself on spiritual things. You can follow your own spiritual path. You don't have to engage in religious practices anymore. You can just make up your own mind what you take out of something and adapt in your life. You're free to believe in Christ only. You are free to believe that Jehovah and Jesus are one. You are free to believe in the teachings of Buddha. Whatever you want, you're free. And you do that because it resonates with something in you. And you make that personal choice to adapt it into your life, to adapt it into your world. And that's a good thing, because then the quality of life is enhancing. So it's all coming down to this end of a complex journey. And you made it this far that you are making the decision to leave. And yes, things are getting maybe a little bit difficult for you because you don't have your family around you maybe anymore. Yes, you have to detox from the Jehovah Witness organization. But trust me, you're not gonna miss the people at Warwick, the governing lying body members. You're not gonna miss them. And sometimes it feels maybe a little bit lonely or whatever, but the advantages I just gave you will make sure that you can make it. Not only making it and struggle on in life like you did as a Jehovah Witness, but you get meaning. You give meaning to your life. You can make your own personal decisions. You can spend your time filled with your core values, with your passion. You can make things happen now that you always wanted. You wanted to be a painter, whatever, you want a professional sportsman, you can do it. Anything is open now. And that gives you so much freedom, guys. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of critical thinking. That is only worth everything. So go out, live your life on your terms, open for everything, attached to nothing, and make the best of it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you are doing at the moment to follow your passion, what your values are now, how it changed you for the good. And we'll see each other on the next episode.